Balin emerged from the wheat fields as dawn's crimson light illuminated his weathered features, revealing a 25-year-old human whose bronzed skin bore testament to countless hours beneath the unforgiving sun. His massive frame, sculpted by years of agricultural labor, stretched his simple brown tunic to its limits, while his short-cropped auburn hair caught the morning breeze. Piercing green eyes surveyed the horizon where smoke billowed ominously from the direction of Millhaven, and his calloused hands instinctively reached for the worn leather scabbard at his hip. The acrid stench of burning timber and something far more sinister permeated the air, compelling him to abandon his mundane existence and confront the malevolent forces that threatened his homeland. The devastation that greeted Balin in Millhaven's smoldering ruins defied comprehension, as charred timber beams jutted skyward like skeletal fingers against the ash-laden atmosphere. Among the debris, survivors whispered terrified accounts of Equal's resurrection, an ancient wizard whose desiccated flesh clung to yellow bones, whose hollow eye sockets burned with malevolent crimson flames, and whose tattered black robes billowed with supernatural wind. "He commanded legions of orcs and creatures I've never seen," sobbed an elderly merchant, his trembling finger pointing toward the Shadowmere Mountains. "And there was a dragon, Laidheart they called it, whose obsidian scales reflected our burning homes as it circled overhead." Balin's jaw clenched as he absorbed these testimonies, understanding that his agricultural implements would prove insufficient against such overwhelming supernatural adversaries. "You cannot face Equal alone," declared Captain Thorn, the grizzled commander of Millhaven's remaining garrison, his battle-scarred face etched with grim determination. "The prophecies speak of a chosen warrior who will unite the fractured kingdoms, but even legendary heroes require formidable allies." Balin's weathered hands traced the ancient map spread across the tavern's oak table, studying the locations where potential allies might be found. The Whispering Woods harbored elven settlements renowned for their archery prowess, while the Iron-Forged Mountains concealed dwarven strongholds famous for their tactical cunning and stealth capabilities. "I'll seek them out," Balin declared, shouldering his pack with resolute purpose, and forge an alliance capable of challenging Equal's dominion over our realm. The Whispering Woods enveloped Balin in an ethereal embrace of silver moonbeams filtering through ancient oak canopies, where luminescent fungi cast dancing shadows upon moss-covered forest floors. An arrow materialized mere inches from his throat, its obsidian point gleaming with deadly precision as its wielder emerged from behind a massive tree trunk. She stood before him, a lithe elven archer whose alabaster skin seemed to glow with inner radiance, her platinum hair braided with silver threads that caught the filtered light, and her violet eyes holding depths of ancient wisdom. "State your purpose, human," she commanded, her melodious voice carrying undertones of authority as her leather armor, adorned with intricate leaf patterns, shifted with her graceful movements. "I am Lirali, guardian of these woods, and I sense both desperation and nobility within your heart. Equal's corruption spreads like a malignant plague across the realm," Balin explained, his earnest words resonating through the forest's supernatural silence as he described the devastation he had witnessed. Lirali's expression transformed from suspicion to grave concern as she lowered her enchanted bow, its silver inlays pulsing with contained magical energy. "The ancient trees whisper of darkness gathering strength," she admitted, her graceful fingers tracing protective runes carved into the bark of nearby oaks. "My people have remained isolated too long, believing our forest sanctuaries would shield us from external threats." Her violet eyes met his green ones with newfound resolve as she extended her hand in alliance. "I will accompany you on this perilous quest, for the fate of all living things hangs in precarious balance." Their journey to the Iron-Forged Mountains proved treacherous, winding through boulder-strewn passes where the very stones seemed to whisper warnings of ancient perils lurking in shadowed crevices. A crossbow bolt whizzed past Balin's ear, embedding itself in the granite wall behind him as a gruff voice echoed from the rocky heights above. "Hold your ground, strangers, or face the consequences of trespassing on dwarven territory." From behind a strategically positioned boulder emerged a stocky figure whose copper-red beard was intricately braided with golden rings, his emerald eyes twinkling with mischief despite the threatening circumstances. Thorin Ironbeard stood barely 5 feet tall, but his muscled frame, encased in studded leather armor, radiated confidence as his weathered hands gripped twin daggers with practiced ease. "What brings surface dwellers to our mountain stronghold?" he demanded, though curiosity had already begun to replace hostility in his weathered features. "We seek allies against equals rising darkness," Lirali interjected, her melodious voice carrying across the mountain air as she stepped forward with diplomatic grace. Thorin's expression shifted dramatically as recognition dawned, his emerald eyes widening with a mixture of fear and determination. "That accursed necromancer destroyed my ancestral home centuries ago," he growled, his calloused hands clenching into fists as painful memories surfaced. "My clan has waited generations for an opportunity to exact vengeance upon his unholy existence." The dwarf's tactical mind immediately began formulating strategies as he studied his potential allies, noting Balin's physical prowess and Lirali's supernatural grace. "I know every secret passage, every hidden weakness in the realm's defenses," Thorin declared with fierce pride. "Together, we might actually stand a chance against his overwhelming forces." Their alliance solidified through shared adversity as they traversed the desolate wastes, where equals influence had transformed once fertile valleys into barren landscapes of twisted metal and crystallized shadow. Balin's leadership qualities emerged naturally as he coordinated their movements through treacherous terrain, while Lirali's supernatural senses detected approaching threats long before conventional perception could identify them. Thorin's encyclopedic knowledge of ancient lore proved invaluable as he guided them toward hidden sanctuaries where other potential allies might be found. The old texts speak of resistance cells scattered throughout the realm, the dwarf explained, his fingers tracing faded maps by flickering campfire light. Warriors, mages, and common folk who refuse to surrender to equals tyrannical dominion, we must unite them into a cohesive fighting force capable of challenging his supremacy. In the abandoned fortress of Raven Shallow, they discovered a clandestine gathering of rebels whose diverse backgrounds reflected the universal nature of equals' threat to all civilized existence. A human paladin named Sir Gareth, his silver armor bearing sacred inscriptions that glowed with divine energy, stepped forward as their spokesman. "We have awaited a leader capable of uniting our fractured resistance," he declared, his steel-gray eyes assessing Balin's character with penetrating intensity. Beside him stood Zara, an enigmatic sorceress whose obsidian skin seemed to absorb surrounding light, her crimson robes adorned with mystical symbols that pulsed with arcane power. The prophecies foretold of one who would rise from humble origins to challenge the darkness, she intoned, her amber eyes reflecting ancient wisdom as magical energy swirled around her outstretched hands. "Perhaps that destined champion stands before us now." "I am merely a farmhand seeking to protect innocent lives," Balin protested, his humility contrasting sharply with the growing expectations of his assembled allies. Lirali placed a reassuring hand on his broad shoulder, her touch conveying both comfort and unwavering confidence in his potential. "True leadership emerges not from birthright or ambition, but from the courage to act when others hesitate," she observed, her violet eyes reflecting profound understanding. Thorin nodded emphatically, his copper beard bristling with enthusiasm as he brandished his ancestral war axe. "Aye, lad, you've already proven your worth by bringing us together when hope seemed lost." The assembled rebels murmured their agreement, their diverse voices creating a harmonious chorus of determination that echoed through the ancient fortress walls. The final confrontation approached with inexorable certainty as their united army marched toward Equal's obsidian citadel, where supernatural storms raged perpetually around towering spires of crystallized darkness. Balin rode at the vanguard, his simple farm clothes replaced by gleaming armor gifted by his allies, while Lirali's arrows sang through the air with deadly precision against advancing orc battalions. Thorin coordinated flanking maneuvers with tactical brilliance, his knowledge of terrain proving invaluable as their forces navigated treacherous approaches to the fortress. "Bladeheart approaches from the eastern peaks," shouted Sir Gareth, his blessed sword gleaming as the massive dragon descended with wings that blotted out the sun. The creature's obsidian scales reflected their army's torchlight like a constellation of malevolent stars, while its roar shook the very foundations of the mountain fortress. Eagle emerged from his citadel's highest tower, his undead form radiating malevolent energy that withered the very air around his desiccated frame. His hollow eye sockets burned with crimson flames that had consumed countless souls, while his skeletal fingers traced arcane symbols that summoned legions of spectral warriors. "You dare challenge my dominion over this realm?" His voice echoed with the authority of centuries, causing weaker-willed soldiers to falter in their advance. Balin stepped forward, his enchanted blade catching the light of Lirali's magical arrows as they illuminated the battlefield with silver radiance. "Your reign of terror ends today," the former farmhand declared, his voice carrying newfound authority that resonated with prophetic power. The final battle commenced with supernatural fury as light clashed against darkness in a struggle that would determine the realm's ultimate destiny. The battle raged with unprecedented intensity as Balin's forces fought with desperate courage against overwhelming supernatural odds, their unified determination proving more powerful than any individual magical ability. Lirali's arrows found their marks with supernatural precision, each shot guided by ancient elven magic that pierced through Eagle's protective enchantments. Thorin's tactical genius coordinated simultaneous attacks that exploited weaknesses in the necromancer's defenses, while Zara's sorcery countered the dark wizard's most devastating spells. In the climactic moment, as Blade Heart swooped down with talons extended, Balin leapt from a crumbling tower and drove his enchanted blade through the dragon's obsidian heart, the creature's death cry shattering Eagle's power over his undead legions. The necromancer's form crumbled to dust as his connection to the dark forces finally severed, his centuries-long reign of terror ending with a whisper of wind across the battlefield. In the aftermath of victory, as dawn's golden light illuminated the liberated realm, the surviving nobles and common folk alike proclaimed Balin their rightful king, recognizing the leadership qualities that had united diverse peoples against impossible odds. His coronation took place in the rebuilt Cathedral of Millhaven, where Lirali stood beside him as queen, their union symbolizing the harmony between human determination and elven wisdom. Thorin accepted the position of royal advisor, his tactical brilliance ensuring the realm's defenses would remain strong against future threats. "True nobility lies not in bloodlines or birthright," King Balin declared to the assembled multitude, his voice carrying the authority earned through sacrifice and courage, but in the willingness to stand against darkness when others cannot. The realm entered an era of unprecedented peace and prosperity, forever remembering the humble farmhand who had faced his fears and united a fractured world against the forces of evil.